as Kawhi Leonard has made it clear to the San Antonio Spurs organization that he not only wants out of San Antonio, but he prefer to play in the city of Los Angeles, specifically with the Los Angeles Lakers, in hopes of forming a super team with the likes of Paul George and maybe even a LeBron James to compete with the powerhouse, the dynasty Golden State Warriors. Listen, there are a lot of financial implications at stake if Kawhi Leonard decides to leave San Antonio, or heck, even if he decides to stay in San Antonio. Now, the San Antonio Spurs have the opportunity to offer Kawhi Leonard what we call a supermax contract in the NBA, right? So that would pretty much break down to about 5 years and $219 million if Kawhi Leonard decides to sign that I'd say this fall, right? I don't think he can sign it right now, but this fall, if Kawhi Leonard opts to sign this deal with the Spurs, he can make about $219 million. It's a lot of money for a guy coming off an injury who played like 9 games last season. But with the years he's put into the game, the minutes and everything like that, Kawhi Leonard is eligible for this supermax contract. Now, if he doesn't sign this summer, or if he waits and if he gets traded and he waits, there are some certain implications that could happen Kawhi's way, in which financially he would lose money. So on the screen right now, as you see, is a beautiful graphic. Again, if he signs 5 years, $219 million with the Spurs is coming his way. That's about $44 million a season. That's if he signs in 2018. If Kawhi is traded this summer and re-signs in 2019 with the Lakers or Celtics or whatever team is interested in him, the max money he can get is $188 million. Still very good, but that's about $6 to $7 million less a season, and that would end up being about $188 million overall. That's about, $31 million less than what he can if he signs with the Spurs, his team, this summer or this fall, right? Now, it's worth noting that at least if Kawhi is traded this summer, he can still get 5 years on that deal. Now, if he waits, if he doesn't re-sign with the Spurs, if he's not traded, and he just waits this thing out to next year and leaves in free agency, and then maybe he goes out and signs with the Los Angeles Lakers or the Clippers or the Celtics or any other team that's going to be interested in Kawhi Leonard, he can make about $139 million. Now we're talking about darn near $100 million yet less, and it can only be for a 4-year deal. Kawhi, with his body possibly breaking down, we'll see where he comes back this season. If his body is breaking down and he knows it, he's going to want to sign for the most amount of years possible. So he's going to want that extra year, probably more than he wants the more millions a year. He's going to want that extra year of incentive, that extra year of stability. Everyone's not going to age like LeBron James. You see LeBron out here signing these 2-year deals with a player option, or the 1-year deal with a player option on the 2nd year. Everybody's body is not LeBron's. People are going to break down on the back end of their prime. And a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and when you're seeing an injury or two come his way right now, he might want that extra year. So again, these are his options. This is why he probably want to get traded this summer and then re-sign with the Lakers next year. Now, you're going to ask me this. Why in the heck would the San Antonio Spurs ever trade Kawhi Leonard to the Los Angeles Lakers? They're one of their rivals of the league, right? These two teams have battled in the postseason pretty much most of Popovich's era. Why would Pop ever sign off, even though it's Mr. Buford who controls everything there? Why would Pop ever sign off on a trade Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers, if all teams, if he had to trade him? Well, again, Kawhi doesn't control everything about his destiny, but there are elements he controls about it, right? If he put it in the atmosphere like he's kind of done so, but if he goes harder and tells the Spurs, yo, I want to be a Los Angeles Laker, I want to be a Los Angeles Clipper, well, at that point, teams are going to start backing away. Outside of Boston, I think Boston is the only team, they have so many assets, they could trade a Gordon Hayward and a Terry Rozier and still be fine, right? They need to find ways to get rid of some of that money anyway. You bring in a guy like Kawhi Leonard, I feel like Gordon Hayward, if he got traded, he'd understand. It's Kawhi Leonard. This is a top 5 player in the league, right? So again, the Celtics theoretically could trade away a couple of these assets And they believe in their heart of hearts, once we get you to Boston, we can sign you long term. They're doing that with Kyrie Irving, who's a free agent next summer as well. That's their belief, right? They believe once they get you in Boston, the culture, the basketball winning, Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, they can get you to re-sign there. So again, Boston might be willing to trade Kawhi Leonard with no sort of handshake agreement or a verbal agreement that he's going to sign long term when he's eligible to sign that new deal. Even more, heck, maybe for another year. If he wants to kind of just handshake agreement and tell the Spurs or tell the new team, yo, I'm gonna sign long term, just trust me on this. Boston might be a team that's willing to trade for Kawhi without it. Now you got other teams around the league like Philly. They're putting together a package that centers around Markelle Fultz, the #1 pick in the 2017 NBA draft, who pretty much missed most of last season, like Kawhi Leonard. Right? They might pull back a little bit if they realize we don't know if this guy's going to sign long term to us. He might still want to be a Laker in 1 year, and he might not care about the money. Why would we give away our #1 pick that we tanked for? We tanked hard for, right? I ain't never seen a team tank that hard like Philly did a couple years ago. So they might not want to relinquish a Markelle Fultz in hopes of restructuring his jump shot, getting his game back, his mental right. They might not want to do that. Again, outside of Boston, teams are going to back away from Kawhi Leonard if they realize he's going to be a Laker in a year anyway, right? Again, teams like the Phoenix Suns, reportedly the #1 pick is available. We believe the #1 pick is likely going to be DeAndre Ayton or Marvin Bagley. If they can get Kawhi Leonard, who wouldn't want to make that trade? Kawhi Leonard's a better basketball player than DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley. They're just at right now. They're young, right? We don't know what the ceiling is for those guys, but Kawhi Leonard, he's in his prime right now, but he won't sign long term with the Phoenix Suns reportedly. Sacramento Kings. Kawhi said he wanted to be in Los Angeles. Hell, he'll still be in California. Maybe Kawhi can get the Kings to or maybe the Kings can get Kawhi to sign long term. I doubt it. I strongly doubt it. But they're offering their pick, which is top 3. So again, a lot of moving elements. Kawhi does have a tad bit of control. I'm not going to say he has full control, because if I'm San Antonio, I'm likely going to move Kawhi Leonard at the trade deadline and not this summer. You move him this summer, he's going to have a whole training camp and everything else to get acclimated to his new team. If you have to trade him to the Lakers, you don't want to set him up to win, right? And if Kawhi doesn't join the Los Angeles Lakers, maybe LeBron or Paul George never come. So again, you want to kind of push this thing as far as you can if you're the freaking San Antonio Spurs and you're going to lose superstar. You want to trade him, right? If you're going to lose him for nothing, getting a guy like Gordon Hayward or a guy like Terry Rozier is a great consolation prize if you're going to lose a superstar, or a guy like Brandon Ingram or Kyle Kuzma or Alonzo Ball. These are great consolation prizes if you're going to get nothing. But you want to pull this thing out as long as possible. And I think Greg Popovich and R.C. Buford, they're smart basketball minds. I think they will do this. Again, financially, if Kawhi decides to wait another year and he's on a different team, or he's going to leave the San Antonio Spurs outright and re-sign or sign somewhere new in free agency, it's going to take about $100 million hit. If he opts to sign next summer with the Spurs or with another team, it's going to get about $188 million. If he signs with the Spurs immediately in his fall, Supermax is what he has. $221 million, somewhere around there. So again, a lot of moving elements. Financially, Kawhi Leonard doesn't make a crap ton of money off the court. He's not the biggest brand. Heck, he was in disputes with his shoe company a few months ago. They didn't want to give him a crazy deal. I think he's with Jordan. They didn't want to give him a crazy deal because they felt as though he's too quiet and not selling enough sneakers. So again, Kawhi's not making a crap ton of money off the court. Now, we do know he drives like a 1994 Chevy Tahoe, so money might not be the biggest thing with him. But if he cares about his money and he realizes he can make $100 million more, we'll see if that can factor in and maybe keep him in San Antonio happy. Money talks. And we'll see if it's a factor in the Kawhi Leonard free agency / drama in San Antonio.